I'm here at the 40th Street trailhead to start a hike on the North Country Trail. This is just a little bit north of Newago, Michigan. And there's a section of the trail that passes through here. There's a little map there, which you can't really see. There's a parking area. There's my car over there. And the trail takes off right here. So this is the start of my hike for today. So I came upon this trail register after walking for a few minutes. I just signed it, and I looked on the last page, and the last time somebody was here was the 10th of September, which was, I guess, 3 days ago. So the trail is getting used. Every few days somebody walks along here. It looks to be a nice trail, and it's a nice day today. Well, I've been walking for about 40 minutes now, and the blazes on the trees have been adequate, but the trail itself is so well worn in that there's not much chance of getting off on the wrong path, at least so far. This is what the trail generally has been looking like. It's sandy with leaf and needle cover, pleasant to walk on. Just winds through the woods. This is part of the Manistee National Forest. A very pleasant trail. Just gentle uphills and gentle downhills. Nothing straining physically. So on a nice day, this makes for a really nice walk. A bit of change in the scenery. Just came out of the woods onto this grassy meadow area. And on my right there's a stand of pines. When you see the grass is starting to turn brown like this, it really is starting to look like fall in the woods. It's beautiful out here. Nothing but the sound of the insects. And now the trail heads back to what I've been used to. Well, I just came upon this signpost that tells me that what I just passed was a coastal plain marsh. And it's showing the field with pools of standing water, which are not here now because it's been kind of a dry spell. But that explains the area that I just walked through. Another change in the scenery. Now the trail is surrounded on both sides by lots and lots of ferns. Some of them are about waist height. Most are starting to turn brown and yellow because it's mid-September and they're going to be dying away, and they'll all grow again next year. That makes for a change in the scenery along the trail because so far I haven't seen the ferns like this. It's an hour and 12 minutes into my hike. I just came to this little wooden thing that looks like a bridge. On both sides there's kind of a green mossy area. It looks like in wet weather this is really mucky and wet and has maybe standing water on it. But right now it's totally dry, so the bridge really wouldn't have been necessary. Off to my right is another nice grassy field, which is probably another one of those marshes that the sign talked about a while back. Really a nice scenic spot. And here's my trail. Something interesting, at least to me, is there's an area here that's just full of sassafras. I don't see much of this down by near Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I live. But right here, the woods is just full of it on both sides of the trail. I guess if you were into gathering sassafras root to make root beer or tea or whatever you can do with it, this would be the place to come. Occasionally you'll pass a post, which reminds you that you're on the North Country Trail and tells you not to ride your horse. Most of the posts also say no bike riding, but this one just has a no horse symbol on it. Just came upon this large piece of birch bark laying next to the trail. I guess I'm far enough north to where there's some birch trees growing. They don't grow where I live, except in people's front yards. But as you head north in Michigan, you start to see birch trees. Obviously there's one around here somewhere, but I think I'll grab some of the dry part of the bark here and it'll help me start my lunch fire later. Just came to another little bridge here, and this bridge goes across a little creek. And there actually is some water in this creek, although it's just kind of muddy and not really moving. Not sure if the creek has a name or not. I'll have to look at my map later. In an emergency, I suppose I would filter and drink this water, but since I brought plenty of water with me, I'm going to leave this alone. Another creek crossing up ahead. A little bit of stagnant water in there. Nothing flowing though. Not much of a creek at this point. I've been hiking for 2 hours now, and this is the time when I start to look for a lunch spot and a resting spot, a spot where I can build my little cooking fire for lunch. Like a big rock to sit on, a fallen log to sit down on. Be nice to find a spot in the sun too, because it's been a cool morning. It started out about 55 degrees and it's supposed to warm up to somewhere in the 70s by this afternoon, but in the woods here in the shade it's still cool. Well, I came to a suitable sitting log just off the trail. It's even got a little spot of sunlight on it. I'll have to make a little clearing so I can have a fire going here without all the undergrowth catching fire. But it's a good spot to sit, so I think I'll settle here for a little bit. I've got my little stove prepared with dry leaves and little shreds of birch bark from the birch bark I collected earlier. I've got a little pile of sticks waiting there as my fuel. If I run out of fuel, there's always more dry sticks nearby. So I need to create a little glowing ember with my flint and steel and see if I can get this thing going. Well, I did have to break out the ferrocerium rod to get the fire going because my tinder wasn't quite dry enough. But now I've got my cup of water sitting on the fire so I can get it boiling. Well, my lunch is ready to eat now. It's a half package of chicken broccoli rice by Knorr, which cooks in 1 cup of hot water. And in there I put 1 pouch of tuna for some protein. So I'm just waiting for it to cool now. It's thoroughly cooked, and I've tasted a bite and it tastes pretty good. So after I eat lunch and have my rest here, I'm going to start to head back towards the car. Well, I'm back to the sign-in point on the trail, so I'm almost back to my car. Let's see if anybody else has been here. Nope, I'm the only one on the sheet for today, so I had the whole trail to myself. And that's what it felt like, because I never saw anybody, I never heard anybody. After the first 20 minutes heading north, I never heard a vehicle or any other sound other than natural sounds. Well, after being gone about 5 hours altogether, here I am back at my starting point. There's my car over there to the left. I'm good and tired, and I've got an hour's drive to get back home. See you on the next hike.